Welcome back. All right, so today, as I continue my look at teams around the National Hockey League, we're going to talk about the Nashville Predators. Nashville was expected to at least be in the mix for a playoff spot, but it was obvious from early in the season that was not going to be the case, and it does not look like they're going to rearm this summer. There was a point last year where Barry Trotz talked as if they might look to rearm and get back into the playoff hunt next season. But the moves made this offseason have not been those of a team who is on their way to getting back into playoff contention. Nashville, in fact, still has a lot of cap space, $10,116,039 according to Puckpedia. So having over $10 million in cap space means watch them, but they may very well be a team that maybe takes on a bad contract from a team, right? Maybe they're going to be one of those teams that's a third party, taking on cap space and all of that fun stuff. But either way, there's a lot of depth in the organization, a lot of names in the depth part of things, but I don't know that this team's going to have any kind of bounce back, and I don't know that the team is not looking at next year's draft and thinking, we might want a top pick. So looking at their lineup, starting with Forsberg, 82 games, 31 goals, 45 assists, 76 points. He has an $8.5 million cap hit till 2030. But for Forsberg, I think he'll be around a point per game again. I don't expect a lot of improvement. If I did, I wouldn't be wearing this garb, would I? I do expect this season probably to be kind of ugly for Nashville, and once we get to season preview part of things, we'll get into other things as well. But for this video, it's just basically here's where they're at, and where they're at looks like a retool / rebuild. Now, Michael Bunting played well for them after the trade. 18 games, 5 goals, 4 assists, 9 points. However, he has a $4.5 million cap hit, and his contract expires next summer. So odds are he probably ends up on the move at the trade deadline if they don't find a way to keep him around, or if he doesn't re-sign with them. Bunting may very well bounce around the league a little bit over the next few years. Who knows? Cole Smith. There's always players who bounce around the league a little bit. Derek Brassard would be an example of a player that I thought might get to the Sillinger record. He did not. So Bunting's bouncing around a little bit. At some point in time, somebody has to play for more teams than Michael Sillinger did. Now, Cole Smith, I like him as a third liner. A little bit of grit there. LaRue. Does LaRue have more upside? I would think he does. How much, though? It would be the question I would ask with LaRue. Then down the middle, you've got Stamkos, $8 million cap hit till 2028. Interestingly enough, at the time that contract signed, it's seen as a bargain. It's a great contract. Tennessee, no tax state and all that. But now that cap hit doesn't look quite as much like a bargain. 82 games, 27 goals, 26 assists, 53 points for Stamkos. I don't think there'll be a huge bounce back for Stamkos. I think there's going to be a bit of a bounce back. I do expect more than 60 points, probably more than 30 goals, because he's a goal scorer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He has to, show some sort of a bounce back. But at this stage of his career, it's probably not going to be a lot. Then you got O'Reilly. Now, O'Reilly's name I expect to continue to be mentioned in almost every trade rumor tied to Nashville. $4.5 million cap hit till 2027 for Ryan O'Reilly. 79 games this past season, 21 goals, 32 assists, 53 points. O'Reilly can do a little bit of everything out there. That $4.5 million cap hit should be very much a contract teams can absorb around the NHL, especially as we get closer to the trade deadline. So don't be surprised when those rumors are out there. I'm not saying he goes anywhere. I'm just saying that he will be brought up a lot because of the fact that he's seen as a winner, as the kind of player who can get you over the hump in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Eric Haula is back in Nashville, so they can't boo him anymore. Is Nashville that kept booing him, right? So this is going to be interesting. $3.15 million cap hit for 1 year for Haula. 69 games, 11 goals, 10 assists, 21 points for Haula this past season. So Haula down the middle, and then Svechkov. Svechkov has some upside. 52 games, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points. I think Svechkov's going to score at a higher rate this season than that, and I think Svechkov's going to turn into one of those players who plays in all situations. So his ice time should be going up. His numbers should be going up. He might be a pretty good pick if you're going to do fantasy this year, and if you have to take somebody from Nashville, Svechkov could be a good sleeper. Then on the right side, you got Marchessault. 78 games, 21 goals, 35 assists, 56 points. He only has a $5.5 million cap hit till 2029. So while Marchessault, his numbers weren't great, I remember when that contract was signed that there were complaints that was so low, and again, you're in the no tax situation, but Marchessault's numbers line up with that $5.5 million cap hit. And the fact that it extends till 2029, it looks like his numbers are dropping. I do expect Marchessault to have a bit of a bounce back too. He can't have a 21-goal season again. I think he gets closer to 30, and I think his points totals get back into the 65-plus range. Then you got Evangelista, who's currently, at the time I'm recording this, Evangelista's a restricted free agent. 68 games, 10 goals, 22 assists, 32 points. Evangelista definitely capable of more scoring than this, and we'll see which line he ends up on, if he ends up playing on this line, which again, I get this from Puckpedia. But Evangelista does have that upside there. So there are some good young players in this lineup, but you can tell Nashville could use more talent coming up when it comes to prospects. McCarron had a really solid season for them this past year. I expect more of that. But Matthew Wood could be one to watch too. 6 games and just the 1 assist. So I thought it was interesting that the fourth line that's projected out here is Leroux, Svechkov, and Wood, since these 3 are younger forwards who are going to be seen as a big part of this team going forward as likely top 9 forwards as soon as this year. So there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of who's going to play where. And when you look at the depth, there's that too. Ozzy Weisblatt, 5 games and 1 assist in his appearances this past season. You got to think he's going to get into more games this year. The pickup, Lucchini. Kemmel has yet to come up and show what he can do at the NHL level. Rolston, Schaefer. That's Reed Schaefer there, part of the organization. Edstrom. So there's some good depth in terms of forwards. And there are some dark horses there who may end up being more of a force this coming season than we might right now anticipate. So there are definitely some unknowns with Nashville when you look at the young players. Now on the blue line, you've got Yossi. If Yossi's healthy, he's excellent. 53 games, 9 goals, 29 assists, 38 points. He has a $9.06 million cap hit till 2028. I do remember that when that extension was signed, there were some who thought it would age poorly. I think it's aged really well. And I think the fact that it's $9 million this year, he's likely still going to be worth $9 million as long as he plays every game, or at least close to it. But 53 games this past season, he is getting older. He's played a lot of minutes. Is his body breaking down? I think that's a valid question. You also have, if Blankenberg's on this top pairing, this is where things get interesting to me. I don't think Blankenberg necessarily ends up on the top pairing, but we shall see. You have Brady Shea, $7 million cap hit till 2031, played 82 games this past season. 10 goals, 23 assists, 33 points for Shea. Justin Barron. Barron, I think, has a good chance this year of finally showing that he belongs in the NHL and can play a full season there. Then you got Nick Hague, who was added from Vegas. He has a $5.5 million cap hit till 2029. 68 games this past season, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points. You're not going to get a lot of offense from Hague, but you are picking up a relatively young defenseman who's got experience in a winning organization in Vegas. So we'll see how it goes. And he's going from one goal jersey to another, so it should be an easy transition. Perbix picked up from Tampa, 74 games, 6 goals, 13 assists, 19 points for Perbix this past season with the Lightning. And so I don't mind this blue line, but there isn't anything that really wows you with this blue line either. It's serviceable, but is it a playoff blue line? Probably not. Then depth-wise, you got Wilsby, Stastny, Gravel, Molendyk is right there, Ufko, Gibson, and Englund for depth on the blue line. So it's there. Molendyk might be one to watch. Or Molendyk might be one to watch this season. And so we'll see how it goes. Molendyk's how I pronounced it for ages. I believe it's Molendyk, right? And then in net, you've got Saros, who had a record of 20, 31, and 6, 896 save percentage. And speaking of contracts, it's one of those ones that's interesting. So he's got a long-term contract that pays him, I think it's a $7.14 million cap hit. I didn't put it on the board for this video, I apologize. But the funny thing is the time he signs it, people are like, that's a really good bargain contract. Saros had a rough year, and now I'm seeing it mentioned as a bad contract. So that's how easy that turns. Annunen is the backup, 9-11-1 record, 888 save percentage. You're not going to get fantastic goaltending with Annunen necessarily, but you're going to get good goaltending often enough that, yeah, he can play a backup role. Then you've got the other Matt Murray in their depth, and Magnus Krona as depth in net as well. So for Nashville, it looks like Saros is probably going to play a ton of games again, and we'll see how things turn out. But I don't expect Nashville to get a lot better. I don't think that Nashville's going to be in the mix for the playoffs, and I don't think that's part of the plan either. So we shall see. there are definitely some players here who could have bounce backs, like I mentioned, Stamkos and Marchessault. And if Yossi can be healthy, that goes a long way. But there's just, for me, too many unknowns. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support, as always. I will talk to you again soon.